Time for NFL division previews presented by Verizon, and we're targeting the NFC South today. It's a division that has belonged to the Bucs, it seems like, for a very long time. Tampa Bay trying to win the division title for a fifth straight year, which, if Baker Mayfield and crew can get that done, it would be a record for the NFC South. And it's also a new-look Falcons team that we got to think about that has been competitive. It's now the Michael Penix era, and then we have the Panthers and the Saints, of course, those being more of a long shot in the division. So getting a look at the odds to win the NFC South here, the Bucs, they are the heavy favorites at -110. The Falcons, we're going to see one full season, if he stays healthy, of Michael Penix Jr. being the starting quarterback there. They're +230. We have Bryce Young, who towards the end of last season looked like things were starting to click for him right there, +410 to win the division. And it's Spencer Rattler time for the Saints. They are the long shot to win the division in the Kellen Moore era, coming in at 15-1. All right, let's get into this NFC South preview. We have JP Acosta joining us on set here. Amanda Guerra, I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino. We also have Mike Renner that's joining us as well. We're going to start with the Bucs. They are favored to win the division for a fifth straight season. JP, how are you feeling about this Bucs team when we're looking at all the weapons that Baker Mayfield now has, especially on offense here, to go and win the division for a fifth straight time?
I'm still really confident in what the Bucs are bringing to the table in terms of offensively, in terms of the skill position groups. I think that they're going to have a little bit of a problem early throughout the season with Tristan Wirfs being out. Normally, of course, when you have an all-world tackle like Wirfs missing time, that's going to be an issue. But they might have the deepest receiving core in the league once Chris Godwin gets back. Emeka Egbuka is still a fantastic receiver. I had him rated highly entering the draft process. But I think they're super talented. They have so many weapons on the outside and at running back. They have so many ways to attack you defensively.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield can't stop saying good things about Emeka
He's
Egbuka,
obsessed
right?
with
He
him.
really is.
Legit obsessed
They're like
with him.
best friends. All right, Mike Renner, welcome to the conversation, my friend. How do you feel about the Bucs winning the division? We know it's hard to go back-to-back, do it 3 times, 4 times, but 5 times? Are you buying it?
I'm not only buying it, I think they have a very good shot of actually getting the 1 seed in the NFC. You just look at their schedule. They play the West and they play the AFC East. You know, they avoid the North. They avoid the NFC East. They avoid the 2 toughest divisions in the NFC. And then the NFC South is probably the easiest division, maybe even the entire NFL, with teams like the Panthers, teams like the Saints, really not contending for a playoff spot. So I love this team. I think they've added so much depth at receiver, at corner, at safety now. I think that this team is primed to be right up there when it's all said and done. I love the defensive line additions as well. I just do worry about the Tristan Wirfs injury. The only thing really holding me back from just saying some crazy things right now is that Tristan Wirfs missing the first few weeks of the season. If he was fully healthy, I think this is a team that can compete with the likes of the Packers and the Eagles now atop the NFC.
Jacqueline,
creamsicles.
you and one of our producers, Jack, were doing an auction draft?
Correct.
And can we call out our actual producer who's producing this, Boney, who secretly was trying to take Emeka Egbuka?
He did take him, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we were
scheming.
He was coming into the draft room, and I didn't know that he was also in the draft. But he was trying to steal our information. He's got Bucky Irving.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Different Bucs player. Whatever. I'm just trying to blame.
He did try to take him. He was texting. Anyway, totally off topic here. So both of you are high on the Bucs. Let's talk about the Falcons. So Michael Penix, his first full year under center. We saw him kind of the last third of the season. How much faith do you have in him and this Falcons team who hasn't been to the playoffs in a long time now?
I have a lot of faith in the Falcons offense being more explosive than they were last year, especially with Michael Penix under center. He was a whole lot more explosive throwing the ball downfield. He had so many passes, over 20-plus air yards. And with that offense, having all the weapons they do, Drake London's going to have a big year. Bijan Robinson is a favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. I do worry about the offensive line injury, especially to Caleb McGarry. But what Michael Penix Jr. did so well last year was avoid chaotic plays, whether it be sacks, turnovers. He moved a lot better than I thought he would. And I think his numbers don't really show the whole deal of what he really was when he was starting last year. So I think they're going to make a big jump with Penix Jr. under center.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this offense whatsoever. It's more of my questions are on the defense side of the ball, because I think the pairing of Zach Robinson with Michael Penix is a match made in heaven. Now, I'm a little worried about their offensive line. You're already missing Caleb McGarry for the season. They didn't add a single guy. Lost Drew Dahlman in free agency, didn't backfill at all. So that's a little worrisome if injuries strike. Well, Michael Penix doesn't take sacks. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. It's just, can those 2 first-rounders, because they invested so much. Can they give them a pass rush? They were bottom 5 in pressure rate, bottom 5 in win rate a year ago up front, just a terrible defensive line. Can they change that while changing that and keeping the run defense? Can they change it without being liabilities in the running game, because they're both undersized guys that they drafted there in the first round? So that's where my question marks lie, because in that division, if you're going to beat the Bucs twice the way they did last year, you're probably going to have to put up 30-plus points against that team.
So what I'm hearing is that this is Kyle Pitts' year. That it's his breakout year.
I still feel like a big TBD on that one.
Finally.
I think it might be.
Okay, we keep
I've been
saying
on the
that.
Kyle Pitts train for so long. This is the year the diamond hands finally pay off. Kyle Pitts is going to have a big year. I think he's going to explode in this offense finally with a quarterback that's going to be able to get him targets downfield.
This
Heck
is like
yeah.
every year Pete takes the Packers to win
Correct.
the Super Bowl.
I mean,
they may now, but
they might, exactly.
Pete Prisco's been on that train for a
Micah
hot minute
Parsons
too.
there. Pete Prisco has also been a generational hater of Bryce Young. That is not new information. So let's get to the Panthers, shall we? And honestly, whatever Pete says and all the haters, down the stretch of the regular season, it felt like Bryce Young, like things were starting to click, right? And what are your expectations, JP, under year 2 for Dave Canales? Do you think, he's like the quarterback whisperer? We saw it with Baker, we saw it with Geno. What are your expectations for Bryce Young under Dave Canales in year 2? Do you think he's going to take a step forward?
I think there are going to be so much more easy buttons for Bryce Young in this offense, which is why I think he's going to take a little bit more of a step forward. When you add Teteroy McMillan in the first round of the draft, I know they lost Adam Thielen. It's going to be a big major loss in the veteran presence of that room, but I'm a big fan of Jalen Coker. Xavier Legette can get the ball downfield, but the biggest thing is this offense has easy buttons. When you look at what Bryce Young needed last year, there was nobody who could create separation in the short areas of the field. There was nobody who could really go up and get the ball in those contested catch situations. That's what McMillan's going to do, and I think this offense is going to really take a big jump because of that.
Yeah, I loved Bryce Young's anticipation at Alabama. Unfortunately, he does not have, through a couple seasons here, any wide receiver he trusts enough to throw anticipatory balls. That changed, though, this preseason, throwing to Teteroy McMillan. Some of the balls he threw were well before he was even out of his break. So he finally has a guy he trusts, finally has a guy he can feature in that sort of way, and I think it's going to pay off big dividends. I mean, this team was a Xavier Legette drop away from beating the Eagles last year. That's how good they were down the stretch. I do still have questions about defense, though. They really didn't add too much. A guy like Turk Wharton's going to help. Derek Brown coming back is going to help. But they were the worst defense in the NFL last year. It's a low bar for them to keep climbing out from. So that's where I'm worried about this team being able to compete in that South.
Mike, how well does Bryce Young need to perform in order to stay a starter in this league?
I mean, I think what he did post benching, that was enough. It really was just, if from my perspective, flipping on the tape, he was franchise quarterback status. It was just not franchise receiver status around him. It was not franchise offensive line play around him. That's where they need to improve, and I think they have enough this offseason. So if we just see that same guy, he's more than good enough, but I think he's going to take another leap here in year 3.
I do agree with Mike. I think that there was a lot of stuff that Bryce Young did last year that really impressed me, especially with anticipation, the ability to create on 3rd and 4th downs. But where I really think he's going to improve this year is just more comfort, more confidence in knowing that he is the unquestioned starter in that offense, and that's going to see his play take a big jump as well.
All right, so let's go to the Saints finally. Spencer Rattler just named the starter here. Their win total, it is not good. It's set at 4-5. We had one analyst who will remain anonymous saying, whoever the Saints are playing, take the other team. We had Drew Brees on, though, and yes, he was kind of being a little bit of a homer, but he was livid at the way the Saints are being put down right now. He thinks the division is open. He thinks they have the ability to be good. What are your thoughts on the Saints?
If there's any spin zone for what the Saints can be this year, if you're really trying to talk yourself into New Orleans Saints, it's that the young guys take a big step on both sides of the ball. They addressed a lot with the offensive line, adding Kelvin Banks Jr. You move Tali Fuaga back to his right side where he's more natural. Trevor Penning's playing guard. You've invested a lot of picks in the offensive line. They should be a lot better up front. And then defensively, you have talent there. It's just about finding who is going to create on offense with this quarterback that can create explosive plays downfield, but the variance is so high with Spencer Rattler. There's going to be plays where you look and you think that he's going to be a fantastic quarterback, and then the next play he does something incredibly boneheaded. So just being able to ride that variance wave is going to be important for the Saints.
Yeah, this is not a bad roster by any means. I mean, this offensive line could be one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the NFL. They have 2 great speedsters out at wide receiver. they were, if Derek Carr probably stayed healthy all last season, there's a good chance that team would have been a playoff team. Now, when Spencer Rattler came in, though, they didn't win a single game. So that's the worry, is Spencer Rattler looking like the guy we saw a year ago, looking like a guy who's not ready to be an NFL quarterback, when pretty much everyone else in that division, most teams around the NFL, at least have a guy who's competent. There's a chance that the Saints, quite frankly, just don't. And that's, a quick pathway to the #1 overall pick.
Mike, JP, we certainly appreciate it. I feel like I was getting kind of gaslit a little bit on why I should buy into the Saints,
No,
right?
it was, what did you call it?
It's spin zone.
The spin zone.
Kind of one and the same.
I like
it.
Spin zone. By the way, your mama, tell us her name.
My mom's name's Melanie Acosta. Shout out to my mom, who also wanted to be here. She said she wanted to be the manager for me for the day. But shout out to my mom. I know she's watching, so hi, Mom.
Oh, I love that.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. The NFC South season preview. I love how it always comes back to Mom, right? Moms are the absolute best. We're counting down the days until the NFL on CBS returns, and that is September 7th. You can watch your local game on CBS or stream it on Paramount Plus as well.